Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Scorpio June 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James, clairvoyant. Well, this month we have a great deck to take us through our journey here. It was given to me very generously by someone about 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't touch it until about 6 months ago when Mars, your planet, sort of said to me, look, there really is something here for you. There's a lot of energy to be found in this, and I'm giving you now the strength and the way to unlock the secrets within it. Of course, over the course of the last month, I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for people from different countries around the world over FaceTime and Skype. And if you might be interested in, I don't really use any tarot in those, it's the spiritual gift of clairvoyance rather that comes through. And if you're interested in seeing what might be involved in that, just have a look at the description at the end of the video. Now I charge for those, I have to. But there's another spiritual gift which I have freely offered to people, and many people over the last month have taken advantage of it, is the spiritual gift of healing. Now, healing as a gift to me was provided on the basis that I get nothing in return for it. I'm not to be rewarded for it, so there is no obligation. It's offered for free, no strings attached. Nothing will be sold to you or recommended to you. I'm not going to try and talk you into doing anything or having a reading or anything like that. So if there is some, what I am is I'm like the fiber optic cable between being itself and maybe you, where if you do have some emotional issue or there's a concern that you have that needs to be resolved by healing, then I encourage you to just reach out to me in the way that's set out in the description, because for well over 40 years now I've been doing it because it is my spiritual duty to do it, and I'm glad to do it. And I have to offer it, and I'm very happy to do so, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I want to make sure that I've done what I'm supposed to do while I am here, if you know what I mean. And this is something that I am supposed to do. So you'd be helping me as much as healing yourself. Now, we're just going to take, great to see the subscribers, incidentally. We are going to take 5 cards because they speak plenty to us, don't they? We don't just spend 5 seconds on a card, do we? Oh no! They have a lot to say to us, and we get to benefit from what is said. So we use 5, and that's all we need. So great to see the subscribers. Show me the magic. 6 of Swords. What's here? 9 of Swords. This is the 4 of Cups. This is the 9 of Wands. And finally, here is the 5 of Swords, that column, the 9 and the 5 of Swords. Well, we're going to have a 6 of Swords, 4 great cards around. We'll have a look to see what this means now. So, I'll bring the camera around, okay? You and we will both look at the fantastic imagery on these cards, while the energy speaks to us both, and I'll do the reading for you. Let's get right into it and deal first with this 5 of Swords. I see there's a 9 above it. This is interesting, but this is a challenging column, but it needs to be dealt with, because I have to tell you things as they are. And we have the 5 of Swords. Look at this woman here. She looks like she's been impaled with a fishing hook there. There's octopus arms running around. Octopuses or octopi are extremely intelligent and adaptable creatures, by the way. And the sea is kind of unsettled. And there are 2 boats with people in there looking at them. Who are they? I think that they may well be your spirit guides, or I'll leave it at spirit guides, who are watching and helping you to deal with issues so that your soul purpose can be met, because we do choose everything that we come across in life before we come here. Just that we forget about that when we come down the birth canal. But I will say one thing though, look at how determined the look on her, in her eyes, is really steely determination there. And that's one of the great characteristics of you, isn't it? Now the astrology is that of Venus ruling the first decade of Aquarius, 22nd of January to 29th of January. Well, Venus rules Taurus, I suppose, and it's an earth sign. And it also rules Libra, that's an air sign, both different to you being the fixed sign of water. But here we have Venus in Aquarius ruling an air sign, in this case being that of Aquarius. Now these two are at odds with one another, because Venus is a lover and not a fighter, whereas Aquarius is a great warrior ruled by Saturn. And Aquarius is a fighter, usually for causes. And so here, the energy is that of the individualistic, dispassionate nature of Aquarius. It's clashing with Venus, which is the planet of relationship. And because of the number 5 that's in there as well, I have this associated with, and it's good for you, I have it associated with the planet of Mars, which is your ruler, and this fiery, dispassionate almost nature of Mars, it attacks Venus as well. So there is some astrological discord there, but the presence of Mars in this column here, as I see it, very lot of Mars energy all over it, is going to be good for you. Now, what I get the feeling of here is that there is a fear of defeat about with you, the fear of a loss, fear of situations or experiences that are yet to occur. And this might be giving you some sort of anxiety. Well, the key to this, of course, is to step back, detach yourself, use that fine mind of yours and detach yourself from whatever it is that's causing you the aggravation. Quiet yourself, become aware of your reality, and view it without judgment and align with the values of your higher self. Now forgive yourself and others, because forgiveness is going to release you. And a lot of this is coming through here. Now, I guess the good thing about this is that there is the strength now to move away from conditioned negative thinking and feelings that are within you that don't belong with you anymore, that don't support you. And this brushing of these things aside opens up you to the freedom and the peace of mind and peace in your heart. But when it's here and it's teamed with the 9, then just take a bit of a deep breath and prepare yourself, is what I'm saying. Now, it could well be that you find that communication with other people is poor, resulting in conflicts at the moment. Maybe there's some rocky shores in relation to relationships. You might be feeling victimized and helpless, or projecting those feelings onto somebody else. Do you know, I think this 5 here is really calling for a reconnection to your higher values and the morals of your soul self, and repairing the bridge between the mind and the heart, taming the ego. It's time to take the steps to begin shifting and cleansing negative energies, is what this is saying, because it's saying that you are up for it and opening yourself up to healing by looking deeply at who you really are and who you are not. Because you do realize that you are constantly creating and recreating yourself. But again, there is this, I think, essential element to this energy, which is that of fear, which is distorting your view of the present and of the unknown in the future. And And this is reflected in this sort of chaotic sea that's here. You'd understand that as a water sign. Well, this can also relate to a betrayal, incidentally, or a sneak attack by someone that you trust and don't suspect to be your enemy. It could be an unfaithful girlfriend or boyfriend, or a jealous person who's sabotaging you behind your back. Now, your fear may be the result of losing control emotionally due to previous hurts from relationships, or it could be connected with the workplace where you've had bad experiences which stop you from expressing yourself fully because your confidence has taken a hit. Well, understand this, that if you let go of the feelings of fear, then the energy bound up here is going to be released. This is a mental turmoil that you're going through. But you should say this to yourself: I am not my fears. It is safe for me to live without guarding and defending myself all the time. When I feel afraid, I open my heart and let love dissolve the fear. And I accept my fear and let it go. Now let's look at the card above it. The good aspect to this is I see it as being Mars in Gemini, so your planet Mars, which makes this a lot less serious than it might be for other people. But just looking at the thing here, well, I think it's, you can just in one moment there's some body falling off the... This looks like a ghost, or it looks like it's a thought that's just flying around, and here's someone peering into the abyss, wondering what's going on. Well, you can interpret that however you like, but I do see Mars here, and I see it in the second decan of Gemini. Now, you know Mars. Mars can be quite one-pointed at times, can't it? And it doesn't sit well with the scattered energy of Gemini. You see, the Gemini impulse is about exploding everything all throughout the dimensions of space and time to create polarity. And so that Mars impulse doesn't sit well with it at all. And what can happen is that, well, I have seen that people who have Mars in Gemini, they're really good at using words to hurt other people. And the number 9 in numerology has two meanings for me. One, it has a meaning associated with the moon, which deals with subconscious, and it also represents the cycle of returns. So sort of a loop. A negative thought loop can come about. And although it's mental, it can create emotional issues. There's a sense of a cruelty to yourself, a self-accusation, punishing you. Why are you doing this? It's these thoughts that are coming into you. It's these thoughts. You know, when I do healing for people, I heal these things and get rid of them for people. Lots and lots of people from all around the world. And I know how damaging it can be. But there can also here be feelings of guilt and regret, from which you then turn your energies in upon yourself. You see, you know your Achilles heel, don't you? And you don't have any defense against yourself. And this self-accusation and thoughts that are coming in, they show up when you least expect it, but often late at night. They show up when you're vulnerable and not occupied with things. So you have guilt, worry, anxiety, sorrow, or suffering. They torture you like this character seems to be. Like, let me out of here. This is... A way to understand this is to recognize, confront, and work through your pain. Now, there are other things I do which get rid of it. But I do know that, this is what I do, but if you do work through things and stick with it, the things that hurt you ultimately become a balm or a ointment which you can then rub all over yourself to protect you from harm because they haven't defeated you. You've got to shift the painful situation and recognize that it's going to pass. Now, what this is, I suppose the upside of this is that there is a realization that you are not alone, but you are connected to being itself. You are a soldier of the light and need to forever follow that loving life with every thought you make and every action that you take. Now, in a sense, what's happened here is you've created a personal dungeon. All those negative actions and thoughts that you've suppressed in your subconscious and avoided have come back, haunting you. And your first instinct might be to blame other people or circumstances for your situation, but hiding behind that dark shield won't work anymore, I don't think. It's almost as if it's as if Saturn has pulled you back, is pulling you back into line and getting you to recognize who you are and how you can live your soul purpose here. It's time to confront these dark places and demons. Now, this stuff can relate to troubles in your heart or mind. But the lost part in your heart, if it's gone, it's gone. It will never be filled. But with time, if you allow yourself to be in the light of love, your heart is going to open again. But I will say this, that you know darkness, you've seen it before, so embrace it and say, I've seen you and I defeated you before and you will not take me. Now, I think that this is referring really to a tendency to put yourself down cruelly. And I think you need to recognize and fully see this behavior pattern before you'll be able to overcome it. Now, who judged you earlier? And how do you now condemn yourself? Are you ready now to forgive your parents, others, and yourself? Remember this and say it to yourself. I am loved simply because I am the way I am. And you should know that when I speak of these things being in your subconscious, they're not the only things that are in your subconscious, you know. There is an enormous amount of strength that resides within you, a potential within you that you probably don't even know exists. And this is proof of it, because this is saying that, see, I think you do deal with these things here. This is the moon ruling the second decan of Sagittarius, the 3rd to the 12th of September. And with the number 9 here, I have a mystical association with the moon as well. So it's about going deep. And it is about that subconscious that's in there. It's a double lunar influence. Now, I think that what's happening is that you are going to come around. Now, this woman here, just looking to the picture, I suppose, she looks like she's been on a long journey. It's been hard, it's been a struggle. But look at these leaves all coming up anew. And she's still going. And good on you, girl. You're doing a good job. You've got power now. It's coming to you that you're going to gain through unifying conscious and unconscious energies. There's a wholeness coming about, a determination, a strength of character, courage under fire, which is what you're going through, defending what you have worked for. I think there are hidden unconscious powers that are becoming visible through this radiant light of the sun. These latent powers are awakened and can be applied towards a purpose. Recognizing these unused potentials within you, it sets free more energies which are experienced maybe as new and unusual. But you have within you a strength that grows from within. And it's symbolized by these green shoots that are coming off the top of these sort of barren-looking sticks that are there. And the force of this newfound strength banishes the darkness of ignorance. Now, when the unconscious is becoming visible to you, you'll be faced with many things you've covered up in order to avoid looking at them. And this can produce a fear of some sort, I suppose, or a fear of feeling painful wounds that you've covered up and hoped to forget. It may simply be a fear of your yet unproven strength, which reaches into all the areas of your life, reorganizing them. This self-realization, which is now budding, blooming, budding, again, like these leaves here, it's not going to allow any return to the old familiar situation of weakness or ignorance, and your inner strength is going to grow with the size of the struggle at hand. Now, you'll experience your energy as going far beyond the boundaries that you thought really existed with you, and I think you're going to find this to be something of a key experience, the beginning of a far-reaching inner and outer unfolding of your potential. So you'll reach into yourself and discover new depths of strength and power that you never thought you had. You now have endurance, you see. Now, you may encounter obstacles, but the point is that you have the strength to overcome them. Now, because this energy, this represented by this card, has turned up, you can be reassured that you have what it takes to get by, even in times of difficulty and stress. Inner strength is going to rise up and guide you. In the process, of course, you're going to learn more about yourself and your abilities. So I think that you're in the process of discovering your real strength. Really, I do. Trust your inner guide. You may... ask yourself, are you a little afraid of your own strength, and in what areas in your life does this fear come up? And I think it's important for you to pay attention to your dreams at this time. Say this to yourself: I know more and more clearly who I am. This recognition leads to the full development of my potential strength. Well, I wonder what the card is that's underneath that. Let's have a look. Oh, this looks interesting. What is it? Cups, 4. What do we have here? We have a lady sitting on clouds, as you do, with 3 cups kind of put to the side, really, as if they've sort of been... Oh, I'm a bit sick and tired of these. Mystery is handing a further cup to this woman. What can I take from that? What jumps up? Well, I see the moon here again. The moon features with you, doesn't it? And it's in the 3rd decan of Cancer this time, the 12th to the 22nd of July. Well, as you probably know, the moon rules Cancer, but I've got to say it's probably the only great strength of this card. Because I think here that the underlying message is that you want to be emotionally fulfilled in a deep way. But maybe you're going about it the wrong way. Now, the moon is associated with the principle of flux and change, and you might find your own emotional states shifting like the phases of the moon at the moment. There is, however, with the moon in Cancer, a great degree of love, tenderness, care, emotional riches here. I think there is also there's a wealth of feeling at hand whose roots are deep in the subconscious. And this great luxury, I suppose, is a responsibility as well as a gift. And it kind of asks you to be careful with how you behave, be aware of it, as well as have the ability to enjoy and share it and to pass it on to others. The danger, of course, is that emotions might take on a life of their own, and moderation can be thrown to the winds. And you can be driven by the emotions unconsciously. Now, in this case, these white clouds here, they're going to turn dark and get ready to storm. So, be doubly awake, especially in familiar or intimate relationships. Now, I must say this as well, and it's because of it's the look on the woman's face is what I'm getting here. And it is this, that it could well be that there is some boredom and dissatisfaction in life around you. Maybe you've become too familiar with your environment. Are you lacking some motivation? Do you need to set some new goals? And are you looking at material things for happiness, seeking a temporary pleasure as an escape from feeling or discontent? Which puts these things aside. But the main point is this, that despite that column of swords that were there, you are being given much love and devotion, so enjoy it without becoming dependent on it. And ask yourself, though, are you in any relationship, and that doesn't just have to be a romantic one, of course, in which you feel restricted? Say to yourself, I enjoy being with, fill in the dot for the person's name, full of thankfulness and joy. And then finally, I think we come to this. I have to do it rather quickly because I'm aware of your time. This Six of Swords. Well, the painting is sort of unusual in the sense that it looks like there's a woman who, because of her nakedness, is actually open. She's actually open to look at things. But she's got her head buried in these feathers of this peacock. But what's interesting to me is these things look like theatre curtains where one might go and see a show or a play or something. And so I think what's happening is that there is a new scene or a new chapter about to enter into your life. Now, this is Mercury ruling the second decan of Aquarius, 30th of January to the 9th of February. Well, here, the fixed sign of air is inhabited by the airy planet of Mercury. Now, Mercury and Aquarius really get on very well together, and this highlights the really intellectual qualities of this card here, and this energy in particular. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, which is detached and intellectual by nature. Mercury, of course, is the personification of intelligence, the messenger between the divine and humanity. And Mercury's ability to analyze brings you now a clear perspective going forward. And I think what this astrology is suggesting is that you take a somewhat detached but balanced assessment of a particular situation, because there is that need that's here. And you need to analyze something without any bias or too much emotion in order to get the best result. Now, I do know that Aquarius is also the sign of innovation and originality, so this might also represent you communicating, which is Mercury, ideas that are new or even unconventional in a really sensible way. This is a time there, despite this, I think you're moving through it, is that there's a mental clarity here, well, at least most of the time. You will be using your intellectual abilities and logic. Maybe someone's thinking of relocating, and there's a period of calmness ahead. There's been a clarity which has come from you learning from difficult experiences here. I think there's also a situation that you haven't really been able to get to grips with that's now starting to get better because you're thinking out a better approach in dealing with that situation. And you've grown through some tough times, it has to be said, been able to handle on them. And you can make intelligent decisions which are going to benefit your life. Trust your insight, Communicate in a way that others will understand. Allow the rose within you to unfold and say this: the rose of recognition blossoms in my heart. What a fantastic set of cards. You did a great job. Well, I said that was an interesting deck, didn't I? And didn't you find it so? I think that this artwork on here is pretty good. Or, I think it's pretty good. I don't say that about a lot of tarot decks, but I enjoyed this and it certainly spoke to me, and I'm sure it spoke to you as well. Anyway, unless I see you privately for a reading or for a healing, then I'll see you again here in a month's time, next month. So, until I do see you again, remember one thing, and it is this: that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.